Well, welcome in, everyone. Hope you are doing about as well as you can under the circumstances. We at US Soccer are trying to help you bend the curve and stay at home by keeping you entertained. Lots of US men's national team classics, US women's national team classics, and some Open Cup classics, which I've really been enjoying. And today we got a really special game to look back upon. From September of 2014, the Open Cup final between the Philadelphia Union and the Seattle Sounders, a game played at what was then PPL Park in Philadelphia. And here to preview that final with me, two very special guests, Mo Edu and Brad Evans. Mo, of course, part of the Philadelphia Union team. Brad Evans, the Seattle Sounders legend. First of all, guys, how you doing and how are you coping? Mo, I'll start with you. Happy birthday, by the way. I bet you weren't expecting to be celebrating a birthday in these circumstances.
Yeah, it's how am I coping? First of all, thank you. Appreciate that. Getting old, unfortunately. Yeah, it's going to be an awkward celebration. My birthday, not really much to do. We just celebrated my girlfriend's birthday 11 days ago, actually, and it was nothing. A cake, a little bit of happy birthday, but awkward times, difficult times that we're going through right now. But we're just trying to stay busy as much as possible. I have a 7-month-old here who's going stir crazy, a little bit of cabin fever. He has so much energy to burn, and he's just like, get me out of this house as much as possible. So when the weather permits, we try to take him for walks, but as much as possible, we're indoors and binge watching TV shows. She's had me doing projects, painting rooms, and changing light fixtures, all this stuff that's out of my depth. So I'm learning. I'm a YouTube theme these days.
just tell me a little bit about those sculptures behind you, Mo. What are they? They really catch the eye.
Oh, yeah. So it's this artist out of New York. His name's Kaz, and he's like a graffiti artist as well as he does like these figurines. And it's just caught my eye a while ago, and I just really got into it. Became pretty massive collector of them, and it's just something that I have an appreciation for.
Nice. Brad, you got to wait a couple more days for your birthday, but I wish you happy birthday in advance as well. How are you doing? And I thought about what you went through last year. You got your social distancing in a year ahead of time, didn't you, with that road trip you took?
Yeah, that's right. It's a weird time. You know, we kind of been reflecting on what it looked like a year ago at this time. We were prepping for our social distancing, our disconnect from society. So it's weird to come full circle now and kind of experience it yet again. But yeah, I think Mo's the only guy who has those sculptures. I've never seen those before in anybody. So no. I don't know. I definitely don't. I don't have any up there.
They're pretty cool. You got some good stuff behind you, though.
Yeah, it's all right? Just a little bit of art. So yeah, I mean, we've been gardening, like Mo said, just painting, basically anything to pass the time. You know, the family that we kind of live with and are quarantining with, the daughter's 15, so I've been training her on the side a little bit now, getting back into the swing of things a little bit. So that's been good. Just anything to keep your brain straight and keep your mind right. So overall, doing pretty good.
Yeah, and planting a vegetable garden as well, which we look forward to seeing the fruits of very shortly.
That's right.
Nice. So let's set the scene, guys, ahead of this Open Cup final replay by talking about that year, 2014. If you would, just help set the scene by not talking about the Open Cup itself right off the bat. Let's talk about heading into that year, 2014. Mo, I'll start with you because obviously that was the year you came back to MLS. You came to the Philadelphia Union. What do you remember about that time? What do you remember about your kind of expectations coming back to the US and rejoining MLS with the Union?
I remember I came back. Yeah, you're right. I came back from Europe that year. I was going through a weird period with Stoke. I had just finally come back from injury there. We had a new manager, Mark Hughes, had just come in. So trying to find a way to get into the team, it wasn't really happening. World Cup camp is looming 6 months away or so at that point. So in my mind, I'm thinking, look, I need to get into a situation, and conversations with Jurgen are like, you need to be playing. If you're not playing, you're not going to have the opportunity to come into camp and potentially make the team. So for me, that was my objective. I wanted to get into the World Cup team after having a long stretch of injuries where I missed quite a bit of time with the national team. And the opportunity came to come back on loan to Philly as a DP. And so I was excited. One, because the league had changed so much from when I first left to go to Europe. So to come back and be a part of where it was at that point in time, to see how much growth it had made, to come to a franchise like Philly where they have such passionate fans. They're hungry. They still are hungry for a trophy. They have demanding fans. And I knew the coaching staff there as well. I knew a couple players there. So I was excited. I was excited to come back to MLS. And I was coming into a team where I was going to assume a leadership responsibility, which I thought was going to be beneficial for me and was something that I was willing to embrace and I was looking forward to doing. So came into a Philly team that year. We started off the season kind of rough. We went through a coaching change from a personal level. I had a high and low where I started off the season well, then went to national team camp, was cut from the team, came back, and there's that period where you have to try to reinvigorate yourself, channel your emotions, and get refocused. And I think it took a couple games, but eventually that happened. And then we went on a nice little stretch of games that led up to the Open Cup.
Brad, from your perspective, 2014 also such an interesting year because World Cup year, as Mo mentioned. I know you were very much in the mix as well with the national team. For the Sounders, it was kind of a transitional year, wasn't it? 2013 hadn't ended so well. There were a lot of changes in that offseason, weren't there, heading into 2014?
Yeah, 2013, we were in Supporter Shield lead by September in 2013, which, looking back on it now, I think all we remember as fans and players was how it ended in Portland was an ultimate disaster. We went on a run of not winning, I think, 7 games at the end of the year and bounced out of the playoffs early. So 13 left a sour taste. And, Zach Awani and I do a podcast, and we always reminisce about the best teams. 2014 comes up, but there's a lot of talk about that 2013 team in Seattle. And in terms of skill, we lost Zach Awani that year after 13, Shaw Ree, Eddie also. Imagine adding those guys to the Oba and Clint show was, something really special. So in terms of talent, doesn't always make the best team though, right? So then you kind of transition into 2014. We lost a few players, and then we somehow, we got Chad Marshall was a massive piece to 2014, and that, I think, what was missing before to get us to that next level. And everything kind of turned right in 2014. I think the team lost 7 games in total, and the guys were flying. So from that perspective, everything was positive.
Yeah,
I found myself bouncing around in different positions and different roles that year. But, in terms of a team winning, you couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned pivotal arrivals, Chad Marshall, Stefan Fry also coming on board at the start of that year, Marco Papa, Gonzalo Pineda. And it was really the first full year of the Dempsey and Martin show, wasn't it, 2014? You ended up winning 20 of 34 MLS games and running away with the Supporter Shield.
Crazy. I mean, honestly, it was like watching a video game because you'll see guys do special things in training, but then they don't do it in games because they get back to the norm. Instead of trying a shot from outside the 18 with no angle, they'll take an extra touch to get themselves in good position. Not these guys. These guys would do exactly what they did in games that they did in training, which none of us had ever experienced before in any of the players. I mean, Freddie Montero was close, but still had that inconsistency. But these guys were so consistent in training and in games that it was like playing with funny money. You're playing with house money at that point.
Yeah, it was what they had. They had a cheat code.
yeah, real legit cheat code, right? Yeah, it was ridiculous. So we all sat back and watched them do their thing. It was literally 9 players, 8 behind them basically, and the keeper, and then let those 2 do their magic. Yeah. And when you did that, and you did that well, you won 70% of your games.
Yeah. And Mo, looking at your team, a really solid team. Sebastian Letou, Connor Casey, Christian Maidana. You were in midfield alongside Nogueira at times. Sometimes you were playing centre back as well. Valdez and White, Williams and Gaddis. It was a pretty good Union team there.
Yeah, it was an interesting year because there was a lot of tinkering with positions and player personnel, as that usually happens within any team, right? As you're trying to build a team for success. And on paper, we had a solid team. I think we finally, actually the Open Cup, the first game of the Open Cup for us was the first time I started playing center back for the Union. And that followed right after, I think, the World Cup break. We had like a little bit of a break. Yeah. We came there, we had a coaching change. And then our first game back, I think, was we hosted Harrisburg. And that was my first game playing center back. And I played center back throughout pretty much the whole Open Cup until the final. So I think when we finally got to that final, we had figured out what our best lineup looked like. We were finally into a good run of form. We hit our stride. And we felt confident going into that game. As good as this Seattle team was, we know that Seattle is, I mean, Open Cup is like their bread and butter. They do that for fun. It's, for some reason, it's just so easy for them. And we knew that, but at the same time, we also knew we were playing in Philly. And we know that it's a hard place for teams to come and play. We have passionate fans. It was disappointing, I think for me personally, because when I came there and eventually wore the captain's armband, I was like, you know what? I want to be the first player, the first captain to lift a trophy for this club and this organization. And the opportunity came in my first year and it didn't happen. So I think that was a big blow. But coming into that game, yeah, we definitely felt confident. And then when we see the lineup and Oba's on the bench, we think, okay, we really have a chance, right? Like this game. And but at the same time, that's also it's also a big advantage for them having a player like that coming off the bench when you have tired legs and whatnot. And overall, I think we left that game with a sense and a feeling of we should have done more because we created numerous chances. We tested Fry. I mean, he stood on his head that game. He had a really good game for them. And overall, I think we just left that game feeling like we had enough chances. We did enough in that game to win the game, especially in regulation. But in the pivotal moments, when you need someone to just be ruthless and sink it and put the ball in the back of the net, that's where we came up short. And on the flip side, that's what they do. Like he just talked about Clint and Oba, that's just what they do. And I remember that when Oba came off the bench, it was a thought of, okay, things just changed. It's about to get a little bit more hectic. The game's going to open up a little bit more. Transition, we have to be a little bit more clever because we can really get punished. And it was just a game where we came up a little bit short.
You glossed over it a little bit, Mo, but for both teams, for any team that makes a run to a final, there are pivotal moments where it could have gone in a very different direction. You talked about that first game in the fourth round. Both of you actually scored the first goal for your team on the run to the final. And Mo, in your case, you talked about that Harrisburg City game, and that was an 89th minute equalizer. I'm sure you remember it. I mean, you were a minute from going out of the competition at home to a lower division team in the fourth round.
Yeah, and again, it was a weird situation because we had just had a coaching change. I think our team morale was in somewhat of a disarray. We weren't playing well. As you just talked about the players that we had on our team, on paper, we knew like, hey, this is a good team. In training, we see it. Against certain teams in certain moments, we see it. We're like, we could play with the best teams in this league and we can beat the best teams in this league. But we went through a stretch where we just were dropping points, drawing games, losing games that were up 2-0. We come back and our teams come back and they tied 2-2. So it was a feeling of frustration. We go through a coaching change, which can go either one of two ways, right? It can either be a lift and a boost for a team, or it can just be that dagger when a team is deflated. And so we came into that Open Cup game, Harrisburg, as you said, yeah, we went down. The first two games at Open Cup, we actually went down. We went down 1-0. 89th minute, we just dug deep, and I don't know, I think a sense of urgency just hit us like, hey, we're about to lose to Harrisburg, which was our affiliated club at the time, at home in the Open Cup. Like this can't happen. And we just found a little bit of life in those dying minutes. Went to extra time, won that game. The next game against Cosmos, same thing. We go down a goal. I don't know what with us at that point in time. Maybe it's because I was playing center back. I don't know. But I'll take the blame for those goals. We go down and figure it out. And I think after we got past that game, that kind of really gave us a little bit more life. Like, hey, we have 3 more games before we could potentially be lifting a trophy. And confidence just started to build and compound on itself. We beat New England. We go to Dallas, another game that goes to extra time and penalty kicks. And the contrast in that game was kind of weird because we finished that game. We're on such a high, looking forward to going to a final. We look at the scores. Seattle just beat Chicago 6-0. It's like
contrast.
Yeah, posted through this tournament, and it was. But at the same time, there was still a lot of excitement and a lot of belief and confidence within our group. I think going as those games compounded on one another, and one game led to the next.
Brad, looking back at it, I had the memory that you guys coasted through, but then I went back and dug in, and actually you had that big win against Chicago in the semifinal, but you had some tussles in the 5th round, a game that went to extra time against San Jose. You had Portland in the 6th round that went to extra time as well. What do you remember about the run that year? And you scored the first goal, didn't you, against PSA Elite? in the fourth.
Yeah, the good old PSA Elite, right? Yeah, so we've been very fortunate to have our home games in Seattle. We won 2 finals here at home and 2 away. Obviously, the one in Philly and the first one in DC. So I don't remember playing an away game in the qualifying round away from home. I think the team did once or twice, and I didn't travel on those trips. So for me, it's always been, hey, this is our house at Tukwila. The training ground. You get maybe 4,000 fans at that game, but everyone's right on top of you. And the turf is terrible. It's a small postage stamp field, and teams kind of come in and are shell shocked a little bit. We've had obviously really good results, but we've also been crushed there. The red card massacre against Portland in 2015, I think I think it was 15 or 13 that we got destroyed there. So, it still has its checks and balances, I guess. But yeah, making it through the game against Chicago at home was a big one for us, I think, in terms of confidence. We had been on a run in MLS play of, I think, 5 wins or 4 wins going into the finals. So, we talk a lot about confidence, but as Mo alluded to, watching the highlights of that game, it's the guys who can make a difference in the small moments. And watching the highlights and reliving that moment, it's just that little bit of quality that separated the 2 teams on that day. And ultimately, with a tournament, it's anybody's game. And we knew that we were up for one going into Philly. A hungry team in their first final that was at home is a recipe for disaster. So, but like you talked about, your lineup that day in Philly was extremely athletic, is from what I remember. And I think both keepers actually stood on their head that game and had really good games. And if it wasn't for, DeAndre's recovery speed, it's probably a game over and Philly lift the trophy, right? Watching that again, it's like, okay, now I get why he's at a different level, right? That's why he's playing, in the top league in the world. So, and then you look at Clint, same thing, that separates the 2. So, you guys hit the post, we hit the post, crossbar. So it was an exciting game, something like 17-17 in shots, but you guys had like 50 crosses in the game. So we were up for it, man. And it was a night to remember for sure. One that's, you look back on fondly. Ultimately, I think I had to come out of the game because I was throwing up on the field. I was so tired just from running the line. It was Lamar and I that started that game, and we knew that your outside backs were going to get forward, so we were in for one. But then we could bring on Papa, who's a game changer, and then you bring on Oba, and it's a different level at that point.
Brad mentioned it, Mo. So often home field advantage counts for so much in the Open Cup, as history has suggested. That in the build-up to the game, I remember Jim Curtin saying, "Listen, this team, this city really needs this trophy." It was kind of put up there as something for the whole of the Philadelphia sports community. I remember talking to Jim a year later when you made the final again in 2015, and he said, "Well, maybe I should have dialed that back a bit." Did you feel an extra sense of kind of responsibility for the whole city heading into that final?
I don't know if for the whole city. I think definitely for our organization, for our fan base. I mean, the story of the Union is a unique one, right? Where the fans ultimately were the ones who created this team. They were the ones that pushed this through, that birthed the Philadelphia Union. So I think whenever you put on that jersey, you feel, as with every club, but I think especially with this one, you feel a real sense of loyalty and ownership to those fans that you want to deliver. And that was the case for us. We were in a unique situation because the team hadn't made the playoffs up until that point. Obviously, had never hosted any trophies, any silverware, and we're trying to juggle the 2. We've now found ourselves in an Open Cup final, but at the same time, I think going into that game, we might have been in the last playoff spot at that point in time. Maybe just above New York. And so we were in the fifth place at that point, playing New York 3 days before Seattle. So it was like, how do we juggle this? Do we rest players? Do we just go ahead and go for it in both venues, in both situations? And we opted to rest players against New York. We ended up getting a draw. So we came into that game feeling like, you know what, we're ready. And we were wearing our Bethlehem Steel jerseys. So I remember feeling good.
White, yeah. Nice.
Like, for warm-ups, packed stadium, it's under the lights, a little bit cold, but like just the perfect scene, the perfect setting for you to win your first trophy as a club. And the way the game started off, there was confidence just building. I think they actually had the first chance, and it was a close one. We were kind of like, okay, let's refigure this out again. All right, we had a good game plan coming into it. It's not going according to plan. All right, take a deep breath, regain your composure, and go from there. And we got the goal late in the first half.
Let's be clear. You got the goal.
Yeah, you got the goal.
What's your memory of that? 38th minute, free kick from Maidana.
Yeah, my memory of that is at the time not thinking too much of it. Right, it's a set piece from pretty far out. Set pieces are all about just winning your individual battles, your individual duels, trying to find a way to get some kind of a leg up on the man next to you, whether that's, you know, with your movement, whether that's anticipating and jumping a little bit early, trying to use them as leverage, whatever the case is. I try to do all those things. I think I was matched up against maybe
Zach Scott, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be a decent, like, physical duel. This guy's good sized man here, so I got to be a little bit clever, and I try to float off his backside a little bit as the ball is coming in, and then at the same time, because I'm in his blind spot, try to use him as leverage to get an early leap. And fortunately for me, the ball was placed perfectly. I was able to get in between himself and someone else and just get a flick on it just enough to guide it past Stephen Fry, and it worked out because the end that we scored on is right there in front of our Sons of. It was just a perfect scene, right? And I thought, okay, going into halftime, up.
Yeah.
Good. We were in a good run. We had created numerous chances before that. This is it. We're gonna get this done.
I thought so too.
And Brad, what was that halftime like for you guys? Down a goal. You haven't been behind many times that season.
Yeah, I think, for us, you never want to be down at home against a team that's, Philly's a crazy story, right? I think like Mo said, and it's a crazy fan base too. Even when they win, it doesn't matter. They'll get booed off the field if they're, winning 1-0 and they don't like what they see. And that goes for all the sports in Philly. So we knew that the fans went absolutely ape after that. Mo's celebration, is a testament to that. So we knew that we were up for one. My head was down. I was like, oh boy, here we go. But, I don't remember the halftime exactly. You get shell-shocked for sure. And you know that you got to come out with something special. So the second half was end-to-end action. I mean, it's a final, so you have to go for it. You can't wait, right? You can't wait till the 80th minute to try to get a draw. There's no point. So you kind of just go for it and see what sticks. Chad Barrett started that game, and Chad is known for cramping in the third minute of the game, right? So he was lucky to half, and we kind of had, hey, you got to give it all you got, guy, because we can bring on, but and knew it was coming. So you give it 15, 20 minutes of all out, and kind of see what sticks.
Yeah, Chad Barrett scrambling home that equalizer. Go on.
A classic. Yeah, Chad Barrett just absolutely, put us in a good position and put us in a position to.
So you're breaking up a little bit, Brad. I'm gonna jump in. So 1-1, and you perfectly described it, both of you. It was end to end from that point on. Looking back at the highlights, which we're going to see again at the top of the hour, just either team could have won it in the 90 minutes. I think it was one of your subs, Mo. Pedro Ribeiro had a great chance, literally in the 90th minute. May have hit the post, or Stephen Fry made a save, but didn't go in. 1-1. Now you're facing extra time. What was that like from your perspective?
Well, yeah, as you described, the second half was a track meet, right? It was, I think in most games in football, the second half always ends up being a lot more open. It's end to end. The game gets stretched a little bit more. So, it's a game of transition, and that's what that second half definitely looked like. So legs start to get a little bit heavy. And when that happens, it's more so about the mental fatigue and how you deal with that and how you gather yourself and get ready for the next big moments. And so the talk going into extra time was, look, we're in this game. I think that was the biggest thing to make sure that we got across. Like, we should have won this game. That we've done enough in this game to where we should have won, and we had to just continue to do that. And then eventually, one of those chances is going to fall. By that point, Oba is already in the game, right? So we're recognizing that the threat has changed a little bit, and it's no disrespect to Chad, because, as you said, Chad scored the goal, and he's a handful to deal with it himself. But now the dynamic has changed. The relationship that Oba and Clint had developed over the course of that season was incredible. So we were very aware of that. But you know, as Brad said, this is a final. You don't come into a final and play cautious. You don't play to get to penalty kicks. No, you're in front of your home fans. You have an obligation to go out there and try to take the game and try to win the game. And that's what we did. We went out there, we gave as good as we got. And I think in some scenarios where I think how the goals actually came against us were because that we maybe committed too many numbers forward. And the transition game, as Brad said early on, they don't really need to have that many numbers going forward.
Right.
All they need is two, maybe a third in support, just to be a distraction, and those two can create magic, and that's exactly how it played out. But that's what our mindset, that's what our thought process was like going into extra time. Like we're not taking our foot off the gas. We're not gonna try to play cautious. No, we want to win this game. We want to win it we want to be us. We don't want to come out of this game feeling like we left anything on the table, or that we didn't, leave our hearts on that pitch. So as much as the game was deflating because we lost, but we still felt like we gave it all. I think our fans left that game feeling obviously disappointed because we lost, but they felt a good sense that we represented the city well, we represented the club well, and we put on a good performance.
Yeah, Mo, we've lost Brad temporarily. I'm not sure if we're going to get him back before we run the game. Really appreciate your time. Just as you said, even though bittersweet feelings at the end, having lost a final, it was a big moment for the Union, wasn't it? When you look back at how things have now gone in the intervening years under Jim Curtin, made two other US Open Cup finals since that point. Unfortunately, have lost them both as well. But it seemed to be a springboard for the club and for Jim Curtin, who's still there leading the charge.
Yeah, they have been a couple more. Look, a trophy's coming. All right, a trophy is coming to Philly soon. They've done a good job of. For Jim personally, I mean, I think you've seen the growth that he's made. When you're interim manager and then you graduate into becoming the full-time manager and then you get an extension, all those things, they breed confidence. They give you a sense of reassurance that what you're doing, what you're trying to implement is working. The players believe more, the club believes more, the fans believe more. And so when you start doing that, that's how you develop a culture. And I think what Philly's done a good job of is they've trusted their youth academy. As much as they've gone out and they spent a little bit of money to bring in some VPs, they've invested a lot of money into their youth academy. And now they're starting to really see the fruits of that. Guys like Brendan Aronson coming into the team, Mark McKenzie, Austin Tressy was there last year before he's down in Colorado. And there's a pipeline of players that are making their mark right now within the youth programs and graduating into that first team and making big marks there. So, yeah, Philly's a club that is definitely on the uptick. I think last year was even an underachievement for them. I think they surprised a lot of people, but those who are close to the club and have monitored things pretty tightly will recognize that wasn't an underachievement last year. That was the bar. That was the bare minimum for them. They could have gone and actually done more in that in the playoffs last season. So I think there's a lot of growth still to happen for that club, and they're in the right place to do that, and they have some good pieces there to go on and be successful.
Great stuff, Mo. I think we got Brad back. Brad,
sorry guys.
The final word with you. Where does 2014 kind of, when you look back at your basically 10 years, a decade as a Seattle Sounder, where does that Open Cup victory in 2014 like? It was the only one you ever got on the road out of the 4 Open Cup wins, wasn't it?
Well, we got one in DC the first year.
That's right, 2020.
So number 2. Yeah, well, it ranks up because it was probably the toughest opponent, I think. DC wasn't that strong the first year, and we were kind of naive. So you're playing in now your second away game at Philly. So that was probably the toughest opponent. So it rings, and it was the last one. So you always remember your last, trophy, whatever it was. And that was my last Open Cup. So, it holds a special place for sure. And the way that it finished going into extra time was, celebrating with our fans in the corner was really special. And to watch, Oba and Clint kind of do their thing at the end there and take over was really cool to be a part of. But I think like Mo said, I think Philly's got something coming. They deserve it. And it's an interesting time right now, obviously, but looking forward to hopefully seeing an Open Cup final this year, but who knows, right?
Yeah, indeed. Echo those sentiments. Gentlemen, thank you ever so much for spending this time with us to tee up what was just a wonderful game of football to watch. 19 shots apiece from each team is just the stat I'll throw out ahead of this final. From September the 16th, 2014, the Philadelphia Union and the Seattle Sounders. Enjoy.
For 100 years, the pinnacle of being the best football club in the United States has been winning the U.S. Open Cup tournament. Fans and their favorite players from all corners and crevices of this great country have had their moments of glory. Tonight, the city of brotherly love is primed to hoist their first major football championship trophy in 48 years as the Philadelphia Union of Major League Soccer hosts Seattle Sounders FC, a club flying high in MLS and one that has already established a legacy of having their name on the Dewar Challenge Cup. Can they add their name again, or will it be a first for the Union and the Sons of Ben? It's the 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Final. So Sounders FC with a kick in their rave green and Sounder blue kits, and the Union in the dark uniforms. Got to think that's perhaps a deference in a way to, in part to the those great teams from Bethlehem Steel, won 5 of the cups early on in the competition. Connor Casey. Winning it back. And this is going to be the first corner of the game already.
That's exactly what they want to do. Set the pace early at home. They can dictate the pace of this match throughout.
Get a look there at Stefan Fry. '28-year-old ex-Toronto FC goalkeeper, 27 league appearances, the main man in goal this season for Sigi Schmidt and the Sounders. Collected by Alonso. Listening to the press conferences before the match, I think both coaches expect that there'll be a fair amount of attacking in this game. The Union, known as a counter-attacking side. The Sounders, of course, have so much power. Obafemi Martin's one of their leading goal scorers on the bench and available for this match. Yedlin.
Right here is what you're talking about. They're a good counter-attacking side, especially with this man. They're going to be looking for him throughout the entire match. Letou.
Celia Gonzalez, who stepped up quickly. Maidana plays it into the middle here. Edu. Intercepted by Andy Rose. Nodded back to the goalkeeper by the Colombian international Carlos Valdez, who's back from international duty. There he is. Spent quite a bit of time with America de Cali in Colombia, along with Independiente Santa Fe, and has been a solid performer for the Union.
Under 20 South American.
World Cup starter this last summer in Brazil.
Absolutely, and a Real Cartagena youth.
That's Shannon Williams. He got a chance to rest last weekend in that match against New York Red Bulls. Zach Scott. Rose. Dempsey. Just shuttles it wide. Valdez with the interception. And this would be a corner.
The Philadelphia, they want to avoid going down in the early minutes by all means. They know Seattle's a powerful side. 6-0 in the semifinals versus Chicago isn't just anything.
Through the middle. Not cleared. It's Connor Casey out there. Colorado Rapids all-time leading goal scorer. Evans. Alonso. Good defending that time by Ray Gaddis, just signed the new contract with the Union through 2016. Bouncing through and short hopped back to Zach McMath. Last Saturday was his 100th appearance for the Union. This is Letou. Not much room so far for Sebastian Letou. One of the players that helped Sounders FC to one of their U.S. Open Cup victories, assisting on a goal back in 2009 to Roger Levesque. That's Williams. Played off by Andrew Wenger. Wenger had a good performance last weekend. He was solid on the left up front, attacking for the Union against Red Bulls. Set up the first goal. Had a lot of good crosses. Actually played defense a couple seasons in his college playing days at Duke.
Still 23 years old, room to grow.
Williams. Every pressure on Maidana by Leo Gonzalez. Picked up by Letou. Casey. A combination there beginning for the Union. Maidana.
Put too much power behind him. Former Argentinos Juniors.
Started his career with Banfield as, you look at the Rave Green Sounders FC.
Trying to make it a little bit like Seattle.
This is Maidana. Nifty touch from him. Couple of runners in the box. Collected by Evans. It's good pressure by the Union that time. Wenger again applying pressure. He's very active. Good two-way player. Eighth minute of play, the 101st edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Through ball played there, but it's going to be just a bit off the mark. Just coolly backheaded by Evans to Yedlin. Safe that time. Zach Scott, the veteran. Really no surprises at all for the Sounders in that back. Very experienced players. This is the Costa Rican, Leo Gonzalez. Lamar Nagel. Collected by Vincent Nogueira. Maidana. A bit too much for Shane and Williams. Here's a replay, trying to draw the foul that time.
Yeah, nothing to it.
Clint Dempsey. You can see why Seattle have 54 points. They have a chance at the treble, the Supporters Shield, MLS Cup, and of course the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup final. Don't know if that's ever been the case for many teams in Major League Soccer, or any for that matter. This is Rose Gonzalez. Nice 1-2. Back to Rose, and he's got some room. Straight in front, over the crossbar. First good opportunity of the match. Andy Rose, the deliverer. Clint Dempsey couldn't quite get over it.
That was, see in the replay, Dempsey and knew where that ball was going, but the deflection completely had him off.
Good combination with Chad Barrett to begin the play. You see, just pokes it with the outside of his right foot, but Dempsey not quite able to steer it down where he needed it.
Good first chance, though.
Nogueira. Gaddis. Williams. Again, working over the very quickly is Leo Gonzalez. Very steady player, experienced player. Again, his career in Costa Rica with Herediano. And Shannon Williams will have the throw. Post. Nobody running through that time. Yedlin trying to clear it. Evans gets held, so it's going to be a free kick for Sounders FC.
Good first 10 minutes here. Still Seattle with the possession, of course, like we probably expected.
Chad Barrett. This is Nagel. He's very deceptive, Lamar Nagel. Rose. Pulled back nicely. Chad Barrett. Quickly coming out to take it is Zach McMath.
Good anticipation by Zach McMath.
Well, Lamar Nagel in that match against, that league match against Real Salt Lake, scored a scorching left-footed goal. If you haven't seen it, you should take a look at it. But he can definitely put it away as you look back on that first good opportunity. This is Maidana, back to live action. Evans. Sounders on the counter. Yedlin. They do. Didn't quite get the spin on it, Maidana, that he wanted. I think he was looking for Letou on that play. Evans, primarily on the right side most of the time, but with the freedom to move in. Fourteenth minute of play. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is PPL Park in Chester, Pennsylvania. Capacity is officially, I think, about 18,500, but I've heard they've had more than that packed into the stadium. Carlos Valdez with a little bit of a knock here. That's Jim Curtin. And what a story he's been as he took over this club back in June and has done nothing but improve things and has them within a breath of the MLS playoffs right now. So tremendous job by him, but nonetheless, officially, I guess he's still an interim manager. But born and raised in the area, did a terrific job with the Union's youth side and knows what this is all about. He's been there 3 times as a player, winning twice with the Chicago Fire.
Sometimes you don't need a name. You need someone who knows these players, this area, knows the homegrown talent, which is very important. And there's Seattle's Schmidt.
And he certainly knows the talent, and his reputation goes without saying as a winner at every level and with multiple clubs. Now, that does not look good for Valdez.
It's like a groin.
There's a tremendous historical narratives written by the Philly soccer press about the history of the great Bethlehem Steel teams. Won 5, of course, and the Philadelphia Ukrainian Nationals. And I encourage anybody to search online and read about it, because just fascinating details that you wouldn't normally get by just reading a press release.
No. Like you mentioned, Bethlehem Steel with 5, Philadelphia Ukrainians with 4. This would be Pennsylvania State's 15th title, even though the Union created in 2010. And this is their first final. Marhunt U.S. Open Cup's been going on for quite a while.
Gaddis with the throw.
Pennsylvania's been very active.
Great opportunity here if he can keep it in play. Wenger again, and you see his pace there. Felipe sticks with it.
Yeah,
he's typically very good at getting the ball into the area. That time the quality maybe not there as he would have liked, but
he needed to lift his head up a bit. Let's see who is available.
Ledoux to Ledoux. And again, you see the close attention by Leo Gonzalez. Really, he's right on top of him at every moment, even before he receives the ball. Ledoux. Math out very nicely that time. Well, I mentioned Obafemi Martins on the bench for Sounders. They also have the veteran goalkeeper Marcus Hanneman, Jalil Anibaba, Michael Azira. Back to that in a moment. Yedlin, Evans. Pop it across Regatas that time. Maidana, Edu. Again, the Union pressing again here. Williams. Far post. Good challenge by Andrew Wenger. And a good cross in.
And that's Philadelphia's first real opportunity. Wenger knew exactly where that ball was going to fall. Judged the pace, the trajectory perfectly. Just couldn't quite get the aim where he wanted.
Wenger's got 2 goals in this tournament. Back to Chad Marshall. Andy Rose. Marco Papa is back for Seattle. Got back yesterday. He was serving his country, Guatemala, in the Central Americana competition. Evans. Yedlin. Maurice Edu in strong. Jim Curtin was talking about him a week ago or so. The fact that he knows the difference, the nuances between playing a holding midfielder and playing central defense. Reads the game so well.
repositioning from Seattle is just tremendous. The pace these players get back to their functions, just amazing. And no wonder they are where they at.
A few words from Chad Barrett to the referee, Mr. Villarreal. In case you're wondering why this match is at PPL Park, well, U.S. Soccer Federation President Sunil Gulati flipped a coin back on MLS All-Star Weekend. The Union, the benefactors of that coin flip. And what a night this would be if they could come away with the victory. Gidlin pops it forward. And that's Chad Barrett battling for it. Shannon Williams can't quite clear it. Lamar Nagel had difficulty as well. Available for the Union and Jim Curtin. World-class goalkeeper Rais Mbulhe, Amobi Okugo. Pedro Ribeiro scored his first goal for the Union last weekend in that draw. Brian Carroll, the veteran. Fred, Michael Lahoud, and Danny Cruz. This is Maidana. Letou. Picked up by Stephen Fry. Have to think he was looking at the far post for Connor Casey on that play. And you can certainly sense the connection between those two players. Looking for each other.
Maidana, Letou, when these three attack, and Connor Casey's just the lone striker, and they pose a real threat. They just need to put the ball on the ground. And
this is Wenger again. Look at the pace by Andrew Wenger, putting pressure on, but Chad Marshall does well. Not a lot of touches so far for Clint Dempsey, other than that one opportunity in front of goal. As we all know, he doesn't need many touches necessarily. He's got 11 goals this season. And if you haven't been keeping track, it's 109 caps now for the U.S. for Clint Dempsey. Williams, marked by Nagel. Ethan White. Shannon Williams is taken away from him. Saunders trying to make something happen here. Dempsey warding off the defense. Have a nasty deflection there. Could have been trouble. Get a good look at Zach McMath there in goal. This is Evans with the corner. Good header, and it's just wide. Great opportunity there for Sounders FC. Andy Rose. Check that, excuse me, was Chad Marshall with a near post run. Did not miss by much.
By much, that would have been his first goal of the U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah, he's shaking his head. He knows that was a tremendous opportunity. They do. Nice move that time by Alonso to keep possession.
Oh, tough. First call here.
Yes, it will be. It's going to be on Osvaldo Alonso. Just reaching too far and too late that time. You can see Valdez down.
First 25 minutes have not been good for Valdez.
An interesting Armando Villarreal, the referee there, as they have a little conference. Facts about him. His wife is also a referee, so that must make for some interesting, lengthy conversations. As we take a look again, he's definitely late. Doesn't get the ball.
Clear yellow card. There's nothing he should have argued there.
Popped up in the air by Zach Scott. Dempsey curls it around. Dribbles back to McMath, so get an idea of Clint Dempsey's ingenuity in the penalty area there.
He's getting there. Dempsey's getting there. So he does it slowly but surely.
Saw Ethan White sweeping through to cover that time for the Union. Connor Casey in a wrestling match that time. It looked like it might have been Zach Scott doing the tango or something. Jim Curtin very unhappy about that.
I believe Mr. Villarreal had his back towards those two. Oh,
Definitely holding and pulling.
Had a clear view too.
Maidana. Last weekend, a play like that in Major League Soccer action would probably, if it were in the box, get a penalty called. There were several penalties called where just quick tug of the shoulder. Chad Marshall to Alonso. Look at Connor Casey, actually born in Dover, New Hampshire. Was acquired from the Rapids in December of 2012 by the Union. A very interesting career. Originally signing with Borussia Dortmund back in 2000. He's had a great career as well. 2010 MLS Cup MVP. Best 11 2009. Needless to say, the Union are glad to have him. Nogueira, Maidana.
Casey's spent quite a while in Germany.
Yeah, he went to Karlsruhe for a while. Just had a cup of coffee with Mainz. Look at that play again. Nice ball over the top for Maidana. So far, Leo Gonzalez has been rock solid back there on that left side for Sounders FC.
Gonzalez for Sounders, Valdez for Philly.
Zach Scott, Rose, Gonzalez. This is Lamar Nagel. Chad Marshall. 29th minute of play, first half. 101st Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup final from Chester, Pennsylvania, PPL Park.
How far up Yedlin is.
He's got that blazing speed, but as we also know, a lot of composure and makes great decisions. Alonso saved it nicely. Yedlin. Past Ray Gaddis. Connor Casey. Well played from him. Wenger, here he comes again. Take it to the line in front. Great ball. Saved by Stefan Fry. Le Two in the right place, and a good ball in by Wenger. And the Union now with the pressure. Maidana. Curled in. Zach Scott defending. Good bit of attacking play by Philadelphia here.
Oh, fantastic. And Le Two very close to getting his fourth goal in this U.S. Open Cup. And the 15th in total. Very good save, though, by Seattle's custodian.
Stefan Fry, and Sigi Schmidt saying recently that he had been on the radar for a while when he was playing with Toronto FC. Actually suffered a broken fibula with Toronto FC, but he's done well to come back from that. He's been the regular guy for Sounders FC in goal this season. Of course, it's great to have a tremendous veteran backing you up like Marcus Hahnemann. Good bit of ball movement here by the Union. Looking it forward.
Starting to enjoy themselves a little more.
Gonzalez again with a challenge. Brett Evans. Dempsey. Makes a little room for himself. Chad Barrett now on the right side.
Chad Barrett's been a second half option mostly, at least in the past three or four league games, for either right or left flank. He's got his chance to start here.
Well played by Le Two. Good look there, Jim Curtin. Played youth soccer in the Philly area. Played at Villanova. First player ever to play Major League Soccer out of Villanova. He's done such a fine job with this Philadelphia side. Things about the younger coaches in the league, as we look at still young Sigi Schmidt, is the fact that so many of them have not just recent playing experience, but they've coached a little bit on the younger players in these organizations, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, especially collegiate level.
This is Wenger. Wenger looking for space, shooting, and it just misses. Great shot and move by Andrew Wenger there, and he again is active on that left side.
Just look at the tremendous pace. Cutting inside.
He's got a quick shot. That makes a big difference. It's a corner for the Union. Maidana will take it. You see the Suns have been helping out. Here's that replay. So Casey gets a piece of it. You were mentioning Chad Barrett coming on. He was with New England in 2013 with a couple of goals, but he's got 7 in league appearances this year. So another example of Seattle's firepower with Martins and Dempsey and Barrett and Nagel.
This is with Martins and Kenny Cooper on the bench.
Yeah, we certainly should forget Kenny Cooper. Well played to Letou, looking for Casey. Wenger. And this would be a free kick for Sounders FC. Now, is this going to be a card or not? Wenger is pleading his case. And so other Sounders with a group appeal. It's Andy Rose. Here's the replay. Yeah. Looked okay to me. No?
I don't. He hit his ankle there. He's open sole challenge. I don't quite like those. I have fond memories of those.
In any event, so it's Chad Marshall, Yedlin, Brad Evans. Now comes Zach McMath.
Very aware of this one.
Yeah, he's very quick off his line. It's one of the great qualities about this young player. He's got so much potential, and now he's got a fair amount of experience, frankly. University of Maryland product. Nogueira, is it taken away? Pressure from Alonso, bounces back to Casey, now to Maidana. Playing ping pong off the shins.
Smartly drawn foul there by Maidana. Great quality of it.
Stefan Fry organizing his teammates. Towards the far post, all alone, goal! The Union have scored and taken the lead. It's the captain, Maurice Edu. Nobody picked him up, and he said, thank you so much. It's Union 1, Seattle 0.
That's pretty much impossible for the goalkeeper. He was expecting something else. He was expecting to punch that ball away. Maurice Edu just came as a surprise factor in that play. As you can see here in the replay.
That's good positioning, yes, by Edu. He gets between the two defenders, and just the timing was there.
Yep. Between two.
Good positioning, and a great finish by Maurice Edu. His second goal in this tournament, and the Union celebrating the lead.
45 caps for the U.S. national team, and now to do history for Philadelphia Union here.
The assist goes to Christian Maidana.
Great job at drawing that foul, Maidana.
Several quality balls into the penalty area by the Union. That one certainly great quality. Marshall picked up by the Union. This is Nogueira. Connor Casey.
good thing about the Union is that they're not done. They still want more. They're not falling back after the goal, which is what we often see sometimes, especially when going up against a technically superior team.
That was just strength by Edu. Ball had enough pace on it that he didn't have to really snap too hard. This is Ledoux with the corner now. Dangerous ball in.
Ledoux again.
And Stefan Fry pleading for help there. And not a lot of Sounders players at that moment challenging for the ball. It's another corner for the Union. Maidana. Perfectly played.
That's a rehearsed play right there.
Back to White. Picked up by Barrett. Dempsey. Strong challenge by Valdez. Ken Gonzalez stepping up, anticipating well for Sounders FC. Nagel. Barrett. Defended by Shannon Williams. He does well. Maidana helps him. Andy Rose. Alonso. Yedlin. And again, Andrew Wenger showing that he can play defense like he used to as well as attack.
Key to success right there. Players have more than one role.
He's got a long throw. Maidana sweeps it up. Second goal of this Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup tournament for Maurice Edu has given the Union the lead. Coming in minute 38. The Sounders vying for their 4th U.S. Open Cup title. They won 3 in a row. And it would put them in even more exclusive company if they could get number 4. Chicago Fire of Major League Soccer with 4. Beautiful touch by Yedlin that time. Chad Marshall. Alonso. Nagel. Stepping through with Shannon Williams. Boston native doing well again. Andy Rose that time trying to look through for Dempsey, perhaps. It's going to be a little bit too strong from Clint Dempsey. He thinks otherwise. Might have been correct. I'm not sure. Hard to tell that they were doing anything but just a shoulder challenge, both players.
Yeah, his elbow did hit Edu in the face. No booking.
Played long by Ethan White. Maidana steps in. Cooley plays to Nogueira.
Maidana has been essential this first half.
Yes. Really has worked himself into the match. Williams. Oh, nice touch by Letou. Letou, can he get the cross in? A bit deflected there. Nice touch from Williams. Letou is looking. One minute of extra time in this first half. This is Nagel. Nicely done back to Barrett. Good cross in, straight across the face of goal. Dempsey couldn't quite get to it. Brad Evans. Yedlin. Alonso. Leo Gonzalez on the left side now. Nagel. Contact, far post crossed in. Nobody home. And I think some of the Sounders FC players were hoping that that ball in would be cut back just a bit. It wasn't. You see Lamar Nagel just continues on, and he and Williams get into a little physical situation. So that is the end of the first half of play, and the header by that man, the captain Maurice Edu, has given the Union a 1-0 lead at the break. So the Union about to kick off. They'll be attacking from right to left in this second half of play, and they have the lead. And we mentioned at the break, Siggy Schmidt having options in the second half to pick up the attacking play if he needs to. Kenny Cooper, 13 goals in his career at U.S. Open Cup play. Obafemi Martins, he's got a goal in this tournament. He's got a number of goals this season, so we'll see if they come off the bench for Sounders FC if this continues. Right now, they trail the Union 1-0. And so far, no changes for either side. It's the Sounders again in that green kit with the Sounder blue trim, and the Philadelphia Union in the dark kits, typically navy and gold, but not in this special game. Quick cross in, shot, and it's wide, deflected away, but nearly a goal there. Very quickly, Felipe, Chad Barrett setting it up.
And we saw Dempsey do the same thing in the first half at the opening 10 minutes. Does the same in under 1 minute now.
And that was Shannon Williams who came in there to challenge just at the right time. Corner kick, Sounders FC, far post. Contact there, appeals for a handball. There's nothing awarded by the referee.
I didn't see it.
We'll wait for the replay. A few hands went up in the air. Not sure how much of a case this really was. I don't think there was any case looking at that. Just off his body.
Yeah. Off his stomach there. They do solid defensively, and when he comes up to help on attack.
There's that long throw by the captain, Brad Evans, and look at Andy Rose, actually born in Melbourne, English citizenship. Has been on fire for Sounders FC. Had that spectacular game winner in stoppage time in their league game. Here's the corner. Valdez is in there, headed. Deflection, goal! Sounders FC have equalized, and it's 1-1 early on here in the second half. How about that? Chad Barrett.
And we were talking about him at the break. Chad Barrett wasn't meshing too well with Dempsey, but hesitancy here, and it's all because of Fry's hesitation. I think Fry was at fault there a little bit, but it's a good goal. Zach McMath, excuse me.
So Chad Barrett gets the goal, and it's level up at 1, Union and Sounders FC. That's his second goal of the tournament for Chad Barrett. Letou. Maidana. Deflection. This will be a corner for Philly. Good work by Letou that time. Tight quarters. Back to Letou. Top of the area, Nogueira.
What I haven't seen in the first half much. Either of these teams risking from outside. Need to see a bit more of that. Test these goalkeepers out a little bit. Here's the replay. McMath should not have hesitated and paid for it.
Tough to control for Alonso. Shannon Williams loses his balance. Now Barrett picks it up again. Top of the area. That's Nagel. Back to Barrett. Look out for Nagel. He can strike them. Beautiful ball across the area. It slithers through. All the way through.
Should have had the head in. Just skimming past his head there.
Actually, 3 players in line. Dempsey looking a little bit frustrated that time. Would have had a nice opportunity, but Alonso with just slight contact.
He's not the most not a goal scorer at heart.
Nogueira gets it out to Gaddis. Good touch by Wenger, cutting inside, but he loses his balance. By Adu. Yedlin is in the mix. Dempsey on the trot. Barrett.
Good anticipation.
So we thought we'd see goals in this match, and we definitely have, 1 each.
Haven't seen more than 2 per side in the past 5 matchups between these two. So that'd be nice.
Nagel. Gonzalez. Decent ball in, knocked away. Real fight that time between Wenger and Andy Rose.
Great hustle by Wenger. Coming back to his origins defense. He's very comfortable at as well.
Played back by the veteran Zach Scott to Stephen Fry. Marshall to Rhodes. Mentioned that Sounders FC also have Marco Papa on the bench. Pretty effective shooter, quick shot, left-footed player. This is Yedlin. Fair amount of patience right now by Sounders FC. Working on possession. Yedlin. Brad Evans. Picked up by Zach McMath.
Second half starting just like the first half started, with Seattle dominating. And to see more from Philadelphia, or very likely they'll go down even further. Seattle is enjoying this first few moments of the second half. And we know they have the firepower.
Tremendous success story. Sounders FC, all the way from the top of the organization. And you could really say that about both of these franchises. Nick Sakevich with the Union, the architect. Acquiring homegrown players, signing international players, and having deep rosters for just this reason. This will be a free kick for Sounders FC. Floated in, nodded forward. Adu is there a second time. Good idea that time by Nogueira, but didn't quite work out for Wenger.
Another Frenchman, Nogueira. To show you.
Rose, Barrett on the turn. Well, just to recap how they got here, their Union MLS clubs entering the competition in the fourth round on June 17th ended up with a 3-1 overtime win over the Harrisburg City Islanders right here at PPL Park. Goals from Maurice Adu, and Andrew Wenger had a brace in that game. Then on the 24th of June, they played the fifth round. They hosted the New York Cosmos and beat them 2-1 in overtime. And it was Sebastien Letou, the modern-day goal-scoring leader in the tournament, with a brace. Quarterfinals on July 8th, they hosted the New England Revolution and beat them 2-0. Connor Casey had a goal. Letou added one. Give his total up to 14. In the semifinals, Union played at Frisco against FC Dallas in a tense affair. One on PKs, 4-3. Zach McMath was player of the round with 2 big saves in that match. Alonso and Connor Casey that time colliding. And you see the captain, Brad Evans, is over to talk to the referee. That's a yellow card. So
yellow. So 1 yellow apiece now.
'57th minute for the veteran Connor Casey into the book. You could see those two really going at it. A little reach around the shoulder there. Maybe a follow through as well.
Can't lose their cool at this point.
Just a look by McMath that time, no problem for the Union goalkeeper. Sebastian Letou is right there to pick it up. Very quickly for Maidana, keeps his feet. Does well. Williams, far post cross, looking for Wenger again. And that time was Brad Evans who had to come back and defend him.
Wenger up and down that left. Tirelessly 23-year-old forward.
They do. Gaddis. Good first touch by Connor Casey, but in the end, maybe just a little bit too much pace for Letou to get to. Sounders with the throw. Gonzalez. Nagel with a little push into the back of Williams. So free kick for Union. The Sounders in their 4th round match, they beat PSA Elite 5-0 in Tukwila. Kenny Cooper hit a brace. Brad Evans, Cam Weaver, and Sean Okoli. Goals in that one. And as you can see, they're about to bring on another powerful goal scorer, Obafemi Martins, international signing. Tremendous career that he's had. And he's going to come on for Chad Barrett. So Martins is on for Chad Barrett. Obafemi Martins, what do you need to know? I mean, he's helped Inter to the Scudetto in the Serie A.
It's a very expected substitution by Schmid.
He's got 13 goals in league play and 24 appearances for Sounders FC this season. And that's a 1-2 punch that you can expect nobody would like to look at as an opponent in league play or otherwise, with Dempsey and now Obafemi Martins at the top for Sounders FC.
18 goals for Nigeria as well. 38 appearing.
61st minute of play. Letou hasn't had a lot of room in this game, just a little bit there, and a rare mistake by Maidana, and it's Seattle with possession. Dempsey. Maidana. Wenger. Maidana, good balance. Plays it across. Letou has it blocked.
Handball.
Play continues. It looked like an obvious handball, but Wenger, referee decided, had no intent to handle it, I guess.
That's the referee at fault there. That's a
Yeah, no question about that. Gonzalez pops it over the top. Rose hasn't had a lot of touches so far in this second half. Arms up a little bit by Alonso. That's
Didn't see much in that. He was already going down.
He's
lost his poise already.
Very physical player, obviously. Time with the arms a little bit more than the legs. Nogueira just kind of floating it through. And in case he couldn't get the ball down.
Just lacking that final pass.
Strong challenge, and I think the foul was before the shot was taken here. Connor Casey, I think, is going to be called for that foul on Zach Scott. And the conversation between Connor and the referee, Mr. Villarreal, continues. The referee's very sensitive these days to arms and elbows being raised, even if there's no intent to strike your opponent, even if it's just you got to raise your arms for your own balance to challenge for the ball. But it
is a physical
safety
sport.
Concern. Martins. Wenger. Picked off by Zach Scott to Andy Rose. Evans. Stephen Fry comes out to clear it away. Brigadis. Nice turn by Nogueira.
Great stuff. Oh, Maidana just losing the.
So many names of so many clubs over history to have their honor inscribed on the Thomas Doer Challenge Cup, which remains permanently at the U.S. Soccer House in Chicago. So there'll be a trophy for the winner here, but the Doer Challenge Cup remains in Chicago. Gadis. Maidana. Wenger. Trying to poke it through was Maurice Edu. Wenger did not make the run that time. Valdez. A little bit too far for even Martins to catch up to. The speedster that time for Sounders FC. That man Jim Curtin, since taking over in June, has started by tightening up the defense and overall has led the club to a 10-2-4 record in all competitions. Nagel and Ethan White that time with a little duel taking place. Good work by Ethan White. Good patience. That's what they need. The Union, more of the faithful, the sons of Ben, and Nogueira. Zach Scott deflects it off from Maidana.
Go, Saber.
very active in this match so far. Vincent Nogueira played with Sochaux from France before arriving at the Union this season. Shannon Williams with the throw for Philadelphia.
Wild hands.
Gaddis. Wenger. Regatas. Just got away a little bit from Connor Casey. Dempsey. Martins. And the counterattacks mostly split up by both respective sides in this second half. Wenger. Dan cuts in nicely, gets past Yedlin and then Evans, but not for long. Just a little bit of a ragtag style of play by both sides in the last few minutes here. Not quite the possession that they'd established earlier in the match. Dempsey stepping back now a little bit. Beautiful layoff ball that time, looking for Nagel. This is Martin, sprays it to the right side. Evans will shoot. Saved by McMath. Zach McMath that time with a nice save.
That time he was very, very attentive.
Good build-up by Sounders FC here.
Onside. Good shot in. And great save by McMath, the young goalkeeper.
Had to get down quickly, and he really did.
Seattle are just knocking at the door once again. It's 20 minutes left. It's not good for Philly.
McMath comes out, gets a piece of it. Alonso. Yedlin over the top. Maidana nods it to himself, pokes it ahead. Can he get there before the keeper? It's a long way to go. Yedlin comes back and breaks up the play.
Amazing, amazing run from Yedlin. That's what attracted Tottenham Hotspur so much. That speed, that disposition to defend as well as attack that he has.
Nagel to Dempsey. Maidana. Just belted away out of the Sounders FC defense. Nogueira, Williams, Letou, Maidana, back to Letou. Looking for Connor Casey again, just a little bit tough for him to get to. Martins. Wenger. Gaddis, little opening for him. This will be a free kick for Sounders FC. A little bit too much pressure, perhaps, by Regatas.
And here is the Guatemalan international coming in from Nagel.
Marco Papa, just returning from international duty, steps on for Lamar Nagel. He's got a goal in this tournament. Would like nothing better than to get one now as you look at the faithful Sounders FC. And again, Papa's known for that quick left-footed shot. Gets himself open quickly and shoots quickly.
That's what they need.
Chad Marshall, Yedlin. Good pass by Brad Evans. Martins does get the turn. Just missed Clint Dempsey that time. Just missed him. Or he might have walked in.
Very unselfish play there for Martins. Could have gone himself.
Shannon Williams. Spins it in. Dangerous ball, but cleared away by Zach Scott for Seattle. Again, Seattle, winners of 3 U.S. Open Cups. We're looking to climb even further into the elite category by winning their 4th. Nice touch to Christian Maidana. Nogueira. Back to Ethan White. Mentioned that 100th cap for Zach McMath on Saturday against New York Red Bulls. That game was, we'll get back to that in a moment here. It's Dempsey. With a run for Sounders FC. Lays it off nicely. Played across, looking for Martins. Ball still free across the middle. Just missing on the far post is Clint Dempsey. Fine opportunity for Sounders FC there.
Great run. Philadelphia got very lucky there. It's 3-on-3. And then Dempsey has that surprise factor in the right, just missing. Too much bounce on that ball.
And Dempsey starts it out. You can see he's got 2 players with him. And then it's played across a second time, and he just can't get to the far post.
Just a bit too much power on that shot slash pass.
Martin shooting, and that one is just wide. Obafemi Martins out of the air. And Seattle definitely is picking it up here in the last few minutes.
Another change here. And it's a Brazilian coming in, Brazilian born.
Here's the replay. Obafemi Martins right out of the air. McMath had it covered, but still good opportunities by Seattle. And here comes the youngster who was very impressive. Connor Casey's off, but this youngster, Pedro Ribeiro, scored a nice goal, his first goal for the club on Saturday against New York Red Bulls. Very smooth style young player. So great opportunity for him, to say the least.
Yeah, Philadelphia were playing pretty much with a man down, Connor Casey up front. It's going to be a nice addition of their offensive line.
I think Nogueira is down for the Union. For the moment, play continues. He's back up, and Wenger has the ball. Nogueira. Williams. Maidana. Crossed in. Off the head of Jared Marshall. Wenger collects it.
And it's been Yedlin versus Wenger this entire second half, which is pretty much why we haven't seen Wenger create anything. Yedlin's defending him very, very well, marking him just on him like white on red.
Union faithful trying to lift their side here a little bit to once again take the lead. Nogueira, Edu, Ribeiro, sliding past and skipping out, and Seattle now with the ball looking to counter. Alonso. It's Marco Papa. Martins.
Clean challenge.
So we've had a couple of subs, and that looks like Brad Evans is down for Sounders FC. Or am I looking at Zach Scott? I'm not sure here. They have another change for the Union. Well, a good match by Andrew Wenger as he comes off. And it looks like Cruz will come on for him. Indeed. So it's Danny Cruz coming on for Andrew Wenger for the Union, their second substitution.
It's Wenger, a striker.
See that play, Ribeiro there. Just you see how for a young player, he's got a tremendous physical presence.
Yeah, he's definitely feeling so Zach Scott there.
Looks like it may be that knee behind the knee.
Try to walk it off. I think
Danny Cruz acquired from DC United in a trade back in 2012 for Leonard Pajoy. Played a lot for this Union side in last season. It's in his third season with Philadelphia. Bouncing in front, McMath picks it up for Philadelphia. 83rd minute of play. Letou. On the turn. Picked up by Nogueira. Nogueira's looking, shooting, and deflected off the back of Chad Marshall. Edu. Scott is back on, so it's back to full strength for Sounders FC. Spun in. Martins. Played forward from Alonso. Papa. Back to Martins.
Great stuff from Seattle here. Just offside there.
Again, just a tad off the mark. By and large tonight, Clint Dempsey has not been able to get running with the ball too effectively, maybe once or twice. This is Cruz.
Perfect challenge.
Perfect clearance in a way, because the ball doesn't roll out and gives Sounders FC a chance to regroup a little bit here. 85th minute of play, 1-1. Maurice Edu and Chad Barrett for their respective clubs with the goals. Fry clears it away.
With Pedro Ribeiro coming in, it's 4-3-3, pretty much shifting from a 4-2-3-1 formation to a 4-3-3.
Good deflection to Letou. And Zach Scott comes back, and you can see he's still hobbling, but he gets the job done there for Sounders FC. It's going to be another corner for Philadelphia here.
Just 5 minutes left.
Near post. Looks like it was Letou. He was mentioning before the match that he'd gladly give away the modern-day professional goal-scoring lead to Kenny Cooper as long as the Union won the match. Haven't seen Kenny Cooper yet.
No.
And right now, who's going to win the match is anybody's guess.
Fred could be a good addition. Could have been a good addition for Philadelphia, but they chose Pedro Barreiro.
Alonso cleans that up to Martins. Papa. Marco Papa. Letou. Papa. Floating ball over the top. I'm not sure Zach Scott saw it all the way, but he saw it in the end to make the play. Nogueira. Maidana. Floating it in. Marshall. Edu. And that's pretty much right at Stephen Fry. No problem for him. And I think he knows he'd like to have that one back. Vincent Nogueira to sweep it a little harder towards that far post. But it's picked up this time by the Union. Gaddis. Shot deflected. Rebound picked up by Fry. Ball is still loose, but it's cleaned up by Alonso.
That was the game winner right there. Pedro Ribeiro wasting a great opportunity.
Oh, that's a great little sombrero move by Nogueira.
Just look at the steal, tried to draw the foul. Referee wasn't going for it. Lucky deflection, and he should have done that. The spin was just a bit too much for a well-placed shot.
Well, they got that goal on Saturday off a cross from Andrew Wenger. Put it right between the defender's legs. Said it just really deflected.
Is that Zach Scott one more time?
Oh, that's Brad Evans.
Seeing how the season is getting to them. Long string of matches.
Real crucial matches coming up, especially for the Union, right on the fringe of the postseason for Major League. Really pulled together under Jim Curtin.
Great run by the interim manager.
And for Seattle, they're already guaranteed a postseason play for MLS Cup 2014 with their 54 points, and as we mentioned earlier, a chance for the MLS Cup, this Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, as well as the Supporters Shield. Can't be said very often.
In trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official on the sideline has indicated there will be a minimum of 6 minutes of added time in our second half.
Well, you heard that announcement from the public address announcer. So we've got 6 to play.
Not that many fouls.
A little bit of time for Zach Scott when he was down.
Here we go.
Nogueira. Maidana over to Nogueira. Nicely done. Off the post. Rebound. Still free. Unbelievable.
Oh my God. Once again at the foot of the post, the Brazilian-born Nogueira.
A matter of inches, half inches, centimeters, call it what you will.
Total pressure now by Philly.
Letou can't hold on. Sounders. Ribeiro. If we're still deadlocked, we'll go to the 2:15s, and then after that, to PKs. That's a fine shot by Nogueira. Then it bounces away.
That's off his arm.
Clearly, yeah, but his arm is clearly in at his body, so there's no issue there, really.
Now, Philadelphia had gotten better since defending high up the park.
Offside is going to be the decision by the assistant referee.
As they push their line forward. It's been a totally different game for them.
Long tradition of the game in Philadelphia and the area. We mentioned Bethlehem Steel. Along with the other clubs that have
Ukrainians
captured the title, and great college programs, thinking of Philadelphia Textile among others. What would it mean to this area for this franchise to win this tournament. Gonzalez, Papa. Skip through. Martins can't get there. McMath comes out very quickly.
Well off his line there.
Nogueira.
Very well read by the goalkeeper. Here's Philadelphia one more time.
And again, just a little bit off the mark, a little bit too direct that time to Stefan Fry. Just the fact of the confidence as well, if the Union were to win this match and then continue their momentum that they've had in the MLS regular season, pushing to the playoffs.
That'd be a great story.
Beautiful touch by Maidana. Cruz. Long way to go by Shannon Williams. I don't think he got there. Anticipation from Maidana again. Nogueira.
Great little exchange of passes there.
Good run. Letou, can he get there? He does. It's going to be a corner, I believe. Yes, it is.
One more minute. Entering the final minute of regulation.
Everybody's up now. Just about a minute remaining. 1-1. Drifting through. 3 or 4 players there. Nobody got enough of it. Edu. Cruz.
The last play here.
Nogueira. Gotta hurry. So that is the end of regulation. We will go to the 2 15-minute extra time periods. Here's that corner again. It drifts all the way through. Oh, just 1 or 2 potential touches.
Passing by everyone, really. But great 2 last chances from the Philadelphia, nearly getting the win.
So it's Sounders FC will kick off in their green and Sounder blue kits, and it's the Union in the black and white. Throwback perhaps in part to the Bethlehem Steel teams of the early years of this tournament.
And playing for a 15th title for the state of Pennsylvania.
And so we're underway. Yedlin. Edu. Regadis. Maidana. Rolls it beautifully to Cruz, who tries to turn, and Rose is there. Excuse me, that's Alonso. There's nothing there, nothing given.
Absolutely nothing there. Just tried to draw it.
Dempsey. Marco Papa. Martin skips it through, just again slightly missing the connection with Dempsey.
to see a bit more from Martins.
Get up. Shaden Williams. Ribeiro that time could not maintain control. Rose, Martin, space in front, great run. See that terrific speed by the youngster DeAndre Yedlin again. Couldn't quite get there in stride. Martins.
Good touch.
Papa Martins shot, save, hand save up over the bar by McMath. Terrific save by the young goalkeeper there. That was hard to read.
My God, he redeems himself from that goal, because this is a game-changing save here.
That is a great save. The ball, he's falling to his right and gets that hand up.
Great reflex, clearly going in that goal.
Boxes this one out.
A tip-top goal, 15 for Philadelphia, 12 for Seattle.
Little late contact. I think Letou cannot believe this decision by the referee. He is apoplectic about it. Villarreal just looks at him. It looks like Pineda's about to come on for Sounders FC.
Defensive midfielder, Pineda, the Mexican, 31 years old.
And you can tell that Brad Evans is having a little difficulty there,
Yeah. Gives the armband to the vice captain, Dempsey, and makes his way out for Pineda. This could be good because it's clearly not 100%.
Well, Zach Scott took a knock, and Evans had been struggling as well, so this is, again, a logical decision by Siggy Schmidt. Brings on Pineda. Floated in. McMath, no problem. They do. Dempsey. Martins. Again, Zach McMath is always reading the game. Comes out and takes it away. Cruz. Maidana. Marco Papa. Good series of touches through Dempsey on the right side. Rose. Solid defending again by the Union back there. Nice little flick to himself by Letou.
Loves doing that move, cutting back on the inside. And he's got space. Been very quiet.
Well, he needed a little more help there, and nobody really got close enough for him to get the help he needed. Alonso. And DeRose. Dempsey. Papa tries to tee that one up.
Pretty much a forward line of three now with Papa slightly behind Dempsey, and Martin's just trying to go for it. Trying to win this.
In case you just joined us, this is the 101st edition, the final of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup final. Ribeiro, Yedlin. This match coming to you from PPL Park in Chester, Pennsylvania. Alonso. On the run is Dempsey. Crossing nicely is Papa. Now it's wide to Rose.
See Papa looking for options. There's nobody available.
Well done by Cruz. Edu. Maidana now. A little bit of room for him.
Exactly where he likes it. Oh, great chance here.
Alonso got enough. And it's a free kick for the Union. Letou that time from Maidana. Just a chop. So what will the Union do here? Stefan Fry wants 4.
$17 fouls in total. It's been a nicely flown match, but just lacking that final touch from either one of these sides. This could be good though.
Maidana shot. Fry, no problem.
Slight deflection.
Now to Williams. Alonso is nipping at the heels of Maidana, but he does get that pass again, square. Ribeiro looking to turn. Williams. Union still pressing. Nifty touch again by Nogueira. He's really played well. Headed up and over. But it's going to be a corner. Union with a corner again here.
Great atmosphere in this thing.
Straight out in front. Looked like Chad Marshall got a piece of it.
Fatigue seems to be getting to these sides.
Yedlin. Good ball to Dempsey. Subtle little pass to Martins. Martins. Back to Dempsey. Goal! Sounders FC have scored! And it's Clint Dempsey out of nowhere, combining with Obafemi Martins. And the Sounders take the lead. How smooth was that?
perfect. Just the perfect moving of the ball. Where you see Dempsey, the Martins back to Dempsey with plenty of space between three. Perfect finish, and that's how Dempsey is the game changer.
Again, 2 against 3. A great pass from Martins. He had to thread the needle, and then Clint Dempsey buries it with a left foot. That's his first goal of this 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and Seattle fans are reveling right now.
Wasn't having the best of matches, but
well, that's what great players do. They lull you to sleep, and then all of a sudden, there it is.
One of the greatest players to wear U.S. colors. And of course, we're going to have a little bit of this.
It's Yedlin who's down. Deflected out of play. This will be a Union corner. Now the task is uphill. They have to come back, level this match, and see what happens from there. LeChou will take the corner. Clint Dempsey has given Sounders FC the lead. Bounced out in front. Dempsey will run it out. Pineda. McMath way up as he needs to be. Martins. Noguera. Shannon Williams. Maidana. Great ball, just off the left boot of Noguera that time. He knows it. It was a great ball in.
Well, it's just a bit too much for him.
Teams like the United German Hungarians of '93. We mentioned Ukrainian nationals. Bethlehem Steel.
New York would be reigning number of titles. New York State, 26 total titles in this U.S. Open Cup. California coming next with 15.
Spinning it in for Ribeiro was LeChou.
Seattle with the only 3 titles of Washington State.
Not just 3, but 3 in a row.
Exactly.
Gonzalez loses it. Maidana. Goal kick for Sounders FC. They've talked about expanding PPL Park because of so much success here.
It's a beautiful stadium. It's a beautiful American soccer stadium as it is.
Gotta love the atmosphere of both of these clubs between CenturyLink Field and PPL here in this match. Maidana. Crossfield by Ethan White. Textbook counterattack, that goal by Dempsey for Seattle's FC, but not only that, terrific understanding between Dempsey and Obafemi Martins on the play. The run, the pass, the second run.
And that's why Martins is essential on the second as a second half option. And here they come again, 3-on-3.
Big gap in the midfield. Papa, Dempsey. Marco Papa takes a crack and it's off the crossbar. He likes to fire them, and that one rattled the post. So the teams will switch ends and we'll play the second 15-minute extra time period. There's that shot again.
Left.
It's Union 1, Sounders FC 2.
One yellow card apiece. 17 attempts on goal from Seattle, 16 from Philadelphia.
So here we go. The Union with their work cut out for them right now.
Slightly bit more possession for Seattle. 52%.
Gaddis. Noguera. Drifting through, and Fry collects it.
He's outside of his area there. Oh, but it's a foul.
Going to call a foul, I think, on Letou. Challenging as he should have here. Very close. Very close. Sebastian Letou making the right run. Seattle, no doubt, will try to sit on the ball as much as they can here. A little extra seconds tick away on any situation possible.
Oh yeah, and it takes skill to do that too. Be able to hold yourself back and defend well, especially when under pressure, when the other team needs the result.
Picked off by Dempsey. Papa. Back to Dempsey. Cooley plays it wide to Rose. Rose takes it away from Gaddis.
Still not out of bounds.
And strange piece of contact on Alonso.
Cramping up everything. A legend.
And you can see Maurice Edu saying, "You better be adding the time, Mr. Referee."
Oh, absolutely. You better be
so
saying that.
Let's make that clear.
Very young referee.
Well, professional referees, a lot of them are what you describe as fairly young. And looks like Fred is going to come on for the Union.
The América Mineiro youth scored lots of goals in the currently second division team of Brazil.
Edu. Knocked away by Sounders FC.
also revealed Fred of the Brazilian national team playing with Fluminense.
Martins. Papa couldn't quite reach there. Stepped in well that time by Ethan White. Maidana. Nogueira.
It's going to be tough to get through that green wall of Seattle.
The 2 lets it go. Headed, deflected. So, I think we're going to have this substitution right now. I think Fred's going to come on, the veteran. Or is he going to, yeah, he's on. Comes on for Sheenan Williams, so the extra attacker on, defender comes off. No time to waste. They've got to get one to equalize, or Seattle's going to capture their 4th Open Cup title. Bounces in, the turn, deflection, corner again.
Right off the bench, Fred comes and gets a shot in.
He does, and that looked like that was definitely on target.
This guy knows how to score.
Maidana. Ribeiro trying to get in there. Cruz headed, saved by Fry. Carlos Valdez.
With the chance, the golden key here. And it took a lot more than that to beat this goalkeeper.
Nogueira. Maidana. Headed down nicely by Valdez. Gonzalez on the turn. Pineda. Checked out. It was actually Dempsey again looking to connect with Martins. McMath comes out.
So Maurice Edu falling back a little bit in order for Fred to take position up front. That was a strange play there.
Zach Scott. Gonzalez. Papa. Taking a look around. Offside. Martins was offside. So mistake by Sounders FC there. Union need this crowd again to pick them up here.
Good save.
Time is obviously a factor for the Union. They trail. We're in the second 15-minute extra time period. Can just sense Sounders FC concentrating on possession more than ever. This is Fred. Does well to get it to Maidana. Maidana. Every touch is crucial for both sides. Fred. Steps over it. Alonso steps into it. Slick back heel from Papa. Martins, nice chest turn. Look out, he can fly. Martins on a race. Zach McMath, the ball is in. And Sounders FC with an insurance goal. Obafemi Martins. What a combination they have been in this match in the extra time. Dempsey and now Obafemi Martins. Seattle now with a 2-goal advantage, and surely this will meet their quest for a 4th U.S. Open Cup title. Look at this again. A hesitation.
Followed him well, but too much space, too much pace from Martins.
Regatas tried to stay with him. He does push him outside, but right there, that touch in front was just enough. McMath comes out. He can't get to it. That touch is enough for the Sounders, and unless there is an absolute miracle at Chester, Sounders FC are going to be celebrating in the Emerald City.
Very quick thinking Obafemi Martins, and
that's his 2nd goal in the tournament.
Goal and assist here. Man of the match.
Deflected. Gonzalez. Ethan White. Just knew coming into this match that Sounders FC in such a potent attack led by those 2 talisman up front. Martins did not start the match. Chad Barrett did, but when he came on, you could just sense that Clint Dempsey was a little more eager to get into the game.
A millisecond of not paying attention to Martins could be fatal.
Tell Stefan Fry, just telling his defender, young defender DeAndre Yedlin, to just let it go. Nobody there.
Just desperate balls in from Union. They know it's pretty much all over.
It's going to be gut-wrenching for that man and his organization. Done so much to get them to this point. But there's a lot to look forward to for the Philadelphia Union as well.
Very hard fight. Hard fight. Very well make the playoffs. It's still possible. They have a great fan base behind them.
The 2. The subtleties of the game brought forth by Dempsey and Martins. Very notable in this final. This is Papa. He's also played extremely well since he's come on. He hit the post in a matter of a few inches. He might have been on the score sheet as well.
Making himself very viable. Jackson's coming in.
Blasted away by Ethan White. Got a feeling that this organization, the Philadelphia Union, are going to be back in the final in the not too distant future. They've got the formula right. The young players, the homegrown players, experienced veterans.
And Maidana holds that midfield together. Very important for the Union, former Argentinos Juniors.
Scooped up by Stefan Fry.
Just a minute left, a couple seconds. Cameo example of why Obafemi Martins just had to be brought in the second half. Made all the difference tonight, and for me, Lindsay, I mean, he's my man of the match.
Up to Fred. Got to be just a few seconds remaining now. Edu chested down Ribeiro.
That's it.
And that is it. That is going to do it. The Seattle Sounders FC are the 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup champions in the 101st edition of this tournament. Congratulations to them. Terrific effort by both of these sides. A few harsh words at the end, but great celebration. Clint Dempsey, ever so subtle for most of the match, but showing his greatness along with Obafemi Martins. He scored in the first extra time period. Obafemi Martins scored in the second extra time period. And that, along with the goal from Chad Barrett, gives the Sounders their 4th Open Cup title. They are yet again into the very, very elite in the history of this tournament. Disappointment for sure for Connor Casey, and celebration for Sounders FC. We'll take a break and be back in a moment. Crowning moment. Sino Galati using all his strength to carry that piece of hardware.
I'm going to drop it.
The 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S.
It's like a trend nowadays to drop cups.
Trophy to the Seattle Sounders and their captain Brad Evans.
And there it is. Congratulations to Seattle Sounders FC for the 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Championship. Brad Evans celebrating with the rest of Sounders FC at PPL Park in Chester, Pennsylvania.
$250,000 check won't work. Nice addition to this.
Adrian Hanauer down there with the players as well. They'll take a victory lap, and for their dedicated, loyal fans, something they will never forget.
Selfies galore.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's have a nice round of applause and congratulations to the 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup champion, Seattle Sounders.
Well, after all the games, there are 80 clubs in this tournament from 11 different affiliations and leagues at the beginning. And now, another tournament. The 101st edition has come to an end, and it's Sounders FC once again lifting the trophy. How many more will they collect? Well, it remains to be seen, but with this kind of formula and leadership and fan support, you have to say this probably won't be the last time.
No, definitely not. Congratulations to Seattle. Fantastic run. And Northwest sits atop American soccer right now.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Gold TV. We appreciate it very much. The Sounders celebration continues in the city of brotherly love. Not the way that the Union wanted it to turn out, but they certainly played their hearts out as well. Our final score once again, the Philadelphia Union 1, Seattle Sounders FC 3. Congratulations once again to the Seattle Sounders FC organization for the 2014 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Championship. So long, everybody.
Good night, Lindsay. Good night, everyone.